I want you to imagine a tree, an old wise tree. It has been through storms, seen seasons come and go, lost branches, grown new ones. But do you know what it never does? It never explains itself. It just stands, rooted, strong. That's the beauty of growing older. You don't have to explain, defend, or overextend. You've spent years being everything to everyone, holding families together, navigating relationships, working hard, maybe even breaking yourself in the process. But now is the time to turn inward. Silence is not absence, it is presence. It is choosing where your energy goes. Have you ever noticed that the older you get, the less inclined you are to argue? That's not weakness, it's wisdom. You don't need to prove a point. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply observe, nod, and carry on. There is peace in that. And let's talk about energy. It is no longer an unlimited resource. You have the right to protect it fiercely. Not every phone call needs an answer. Not every disagreement needs your input. Not every event needs your presence. You are allowed to say, no, I need this time for myself, and feel no guilt. Because at this stage of life, joy is your responsibility, not your children's, not society's, not some unfinished expectation you placed on yourself years ago. Joy is an inside job, and you owe it to yourself to wake up each day and choose it. Aging is not just about getting older, it is about arriving at a place in life where you finally have the time, the wisdom, and the perspective to turn inward. It is a season where the distractions of youth fade and what truly matters comes into focus. It is a time to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself the questions that were often pushed aside in the busyness of earlier years. Who am I now? What do I truly want? What do I need to let go of? For decades, life may have felt like a constant race. Career goals, raising a family, navigating relationships, meeting obligations, making sacrifices. You spent years pouring yourself into others, often without stopping to consider what you were leaving for yourself. But aging offers a gift that is often overlooked, the gift of clarity. You begin to see patterns in your life, choices that shaped your journey, lessons that were disguised as struggles, and moments of beauty that you may not have fully appreciated at the time. This is the season when you finally understand that you are not defined by the roles you once played. You are not just a parent, a spouse, a friend, or a professional. You are a person who has lived, who has experienced, who has felt understand your worth. Or do you want to embrace each day with gratitude, prioritize your well-being, and choose joy over obligation? Aging is the time to give yourself permission to release what no longer serves you. Maybe it is the need to always be right, the need to be liked, the need to explain yourself. Maybe it is guilt, regret, or past mistakes. You cannot go back and rewrite history, but you can decide how you will move forward. This season of life is an invitation to be fully present with yourself, to sit in silence and listen to your own heart, to reconnect with old dreams that were set aside, to enjoy the simple pleasures that once went unnoticed. It is a time to cultivate peace, to find meaning in the small things, and to trust that who you are, as you are, is enough. Aging is not a loss. It is a deepening of understanding, of self-awareness, of acceptance. And the more you embrace it, the more you realize that this is not the end of your journey. It is simply a new chapter, one where you finally get to focus on the most important person in your life, you. There comes a time in life when you realize that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every battle needs to be fought, and not every opinion needs to be shared. This realization does not come from fear nor from a lack of confidence, but from wisdom, the deep understanding that silence holds a power that words often cannot. For much of life, we are taught that speaking up is a sign of strength. We defend ourselves in arguments. We fight to be heard. We try to explain our choices to people who may never truly understand them. But as we age, we start to see things differently. We recognize that the loudest person in the room is not always the wisest, and that sometimes the best response is no response at all. Silence does not mean passivity. It does not mean weakness. In fact, it takes great strength to hold your tongue when provoked, to walk away from unnecessary conflict, and to let go of the need to prove a point. There is a profound kind of peace that comes from knowing you do not need to engage in every debate, defend every decision, or correct every misunderstanding. You simply let your life speak for itself. Think about the elders you've met in life, the ones who seem unshaken, who observe more than they speak, who smile instead of argue. They have learned something that many still struggle to grasp, that words once spoken cannot be taken back, and that wisdom is often found in what is left unsaid. Silence allows you to observe. It lets you step back and truly see people for who they are rather than who they pretend to be. It gives you the space to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. In the quiet, you hear your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to trust your own instincts instead of seeking validation from others. You recognize what truly matters and what is simply noise. There is also a kind of dignity in silence. When you choose not to engage in gossip, when you refuse to react to negativity, when you hold back from unnecessary arguments, you are not surrendering, you are protecting your peace. You are choosing to invest your energy in things that uplift you rather than drain you. At this stage in life, there is no need to convince anyone of your worth, no need to explain yourself to those who do not seek to understand, no need to prove a point to those who have already made up their minds. Silence is not about giving up, it is about rising above. It is about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your inner peace are far more valuable than winning a fleeting argument. So let others speak if they must. Let them argue, let them misunderstand, let them create their own narratives. You do not need to respond to everything. Your wisdom, your presence, and your silence will say more than words ever could. There is a truth that becomes clearer with age. Energy is not infinite. When you were younger, it may have felt like you could give endlessly to your work, your family, your relationships, your responsibilities. You stayed up late, woke up early, stretched yourself thin, and somehow still managed to keep going. But as time passes, you realize that your energy, both physical and emotional, is a finite resource, and how you spend it determines the quality of your life. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is essential. Every day you are given a limited amount of it, and once it is used up, you cannot get it back. The way you spend your energy affects your mood, your health, your relationships, and even your sense of purpose. This is why, as you grow older, it becomes crucial to be intentional about where and how you invest it. Think about the people and situations that drain you, the constant complainers, the arguments that lead nowhere, the obligations that bring no joy, the unnecessary stressors that take up space in your mind. These things are not just inconveniences, they are thieves of your energy. Every time you engage in negativity, every time you overextend yourself for things that do not truly matter, you are giving away a piece of yourself that you may not get back. And here's something important. Not everything that asks for your attention deserves your energy. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not have to say yes when your heart is screaming no. Learning to protect your energy means learning to set boundaries, to say no without guilt, and to recognize when something or someone is simply not worth your time. But protecting your energy is not just about avoiding the negative. It is also about actively choosing the positive. What fills you up? What makes you feel alive? Maybe it is sitting in silence with a cup of tea, walking in nature, reading a book, listening to music, or spending time with people who uplift you. These are not luxuries, they are necessities. When you choose to invest your energy in things that nourish your soul, you are not being lazy, you are being wise. Your energy is the currency of your life, and every day you decide how to spend it. Spend it on things that bring you peace, on people who appreciate you, on experiences that make your heart feel light. Guard it fiercely, protect it unapologetically, because at this stage in life, your greatest responsibility is not to please others, it is to take care of yourself. For much of life, we are taught directly or indirectly that joy comes from the outside. We chase achievements, relationships, financial stability, and recognition, believing that once we reach a certain milestone, we will finally feel happy. But as time passes, we begin to see the truth. Joy is not something that can be found in external things, nor is it something that can be given to us by others. True joy is an inside job. It is something we cultivate within ourselves, independent of circumstances. If joy came from external success alone, then why are there people who have everything and still feel empty? And if joy was determined by hardships, why are there people who have been through so much yet radiate peace and contentment? The answer is simple. Joy is a choice, not a destination. It is a way of being, not something that happens to us. One of the greatest lessons that aging teaches us is that happiness does not come from chasing, but from embracing. When we are younger, we are often in pursuit of love, approval, security, and perfection. But in the later seasons of life, we realize that joy is not in the pursuit at all. It is in the moments we once overlooked. The quiet mornings, the laughter of loved ones, the feeling of the sun on our skin, the stillness of a peaceful mind. Joy is not about what you have, it is about how you see what you have. Two people can experience the same situation, and one will find reasons to be grateful while the other will find reasons to complain. The difference is not in their circumstances, but in their perspective. When you decide to shift your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what went wrong to what is still beautiful, you unlock a kind of joy that cannot be taken away. But here's the challenge. Society does not always teach us to find joy within ourselves. It tells us to wait for it, to wait until we retire, until we have enough money, until the right person comes along, until everything is perfect. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for joy only delays it. The truth is, you do not need anything more to be joyful. You simply need to choose it. Does this mean life is always easy? Of course not. Pain, loss, and struggles are part of the human experience, but even in the hardest seasons, joy can still exist. It does not erase pain, but it can sit alongside it. You can grieve and still find beauty in a sunset. You can face challenges and still find gratitude in the small things. Joy is not the absence of hardship. It is the presence of light despite it. At this stage in life, you owe it to yourself to stop waiting for happiness and start creating it. Choose to fill your days with things that bring you peace. Choose to focus on the blessings that surround you. Choose to release the idea that joy is something to be earned, and instead recognize that it is something you already have access to. Because the truth is, no one else is responsible for your happiness. It is not the job of your children, your spouse, your friends, or society to make you feel whole. That is an inside job, one that only you can do. And the moment you realize this, you set yourself free. There is an invisible weight that many people carry throughout life, the weight of responsibility, of feeling like it is their job to fix everything and everyone. For years, you may have been the problem solver, the peacemaker, the one who held things together. You may have spent your life making sacrifices, putting out fires, and ensuring that the people around you were taken care of. But as you grow older, a profound realization begins to take shape. Not everything is yours to fix. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every problem is yours to solve. Letting go of the need to fix everything is not about giving up. It is about recognizing that people must walk their own paths, learn their own lessons, and find their own way, just as you did. You cannot protect your loved ones from every mistake. You cannot prevent every hardship. You cannot control how others think, feel, or behave, and the more you try, the more exhausted and frustrated you become. There's an old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. This truth becomes even clearer with age. You can offer advice, share your wisdom, and even extend a helping hand, but in the end, people will only change when they are ready, and some may never be ready. That is not your failure, it is simply life. How many times have you given someone advice only for them to ignore it? How many times have you warned someone about a bad decision only to watch them make it anyway? And how many times have you stressed over a situation that was never yours to control in the first place? This is why letting go is an act of peace. It is a decision to release the burden of trying to control outcomes that were never in your hands. Letting go also means releasing the guilt that often comes with it. You are not abandoning people when you stop trying to fix them. You are simply respecting their journey. You are not being selfish when you stop taking on other people's burdens. You are simply prioritizing your well-being. There is a difference between supporting someone and carrying them, and it is not your job to carry the weight of everyone else's struggle. But perhaps the hardest part of letting go is accepting that not everyone will understand or appreciate it. Some may accuse you of not caring. Some may expect you to keep playing the same role you always have. But your job is not to meet everyone's expectations. It is to live in a way that brings you peace. At this stage in life, you have earned the right to step back, to say, I love you, but I cannot fix this for you. To offer guidance, but not force solutions. To be present, but not be consumed. To care deeply, but not at the expense of your own well-being. So breathe, release the weight. Trust that people will find their way in their own time, in their own way. And remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is simply let go. There comes a time in life when you realize that peace is a choice. And one of the most powerful ways to protect it is by setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are gates designed to let in only what nurtures and respects your well-being. They are an act of self-respect, a way of saying, I love you, but I love myself too. For many years, you may have placed others before yourself, answering every call, helping whenever asked, sacrificing your time, energy, and even your happiness to meet the expectations of those around you. Maybe you were the one who kept the family together, who fixed problems, who showed up even when you were exhausted. But at this stage in life, you begin to understand something crucial. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Setting boundaries does not mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about yourself too. It means recognizing that you have the right to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. It means understanding that just because someone expects something from you does not mean you are obligated to give it. But boundaries are not always easy to set, especially when you have spent a lifetime putting others first. There will be people who resist them, who make you feel guilty, who say you've changed. But change is not a bad thing. It is growth. The people who truly care about you will respect your need for space, and those who don't were never really considering your well-being in the first place. So how do you set boundaries gracefully? First, you must be clear about what you need. Maybe you need more time for yourself, more distance from negative influences, or the ability to say no without guilt. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. Your needs are valid. Second, communicate your boundaries with kindness but firmness. You do not have to explain or justify them. A simple, I won't be able to do that, or I need to take some time for myself is enough. You are not asking for permission, you are stating your limits. Third, release the fear of disappointing others. You will never be able to please everyone, and trying to do so will only drain you. It is okay if people do not understand your boundaries. What matters is that you honor them. Remember that boundaries are an act of love. They protect your peace so that you can show up fully in the relationships that truly matter. When you prioritize yourself, you are not taking away from others. You are ensuring that you can continue to give in a way that is healthy and sustainable. At this stage in life, you deserve to be surrounded by respect, love, and mutual care. You have nothing to prove, no one to impress, and no obligation to sacrifice your well-being for the comfort of others. Set your boundaries with grace, hold them with confidence, and never apologize for protecting your peace. Life has a way of teaching us what truly matters, often through years of experience, moments of joy, and seasons of hardship. As we step into this chapter of life, we are given a rare and beautiful opportunity to turn inward, to prioritize our peace, and to embrace the wisdom that comes with age. This is not the time to exhaust ourselves trying to fix everything or everyone. It is not the time to waste energy on meaningless conflicts or to seek validation from those who may never understand us. Instead, it is a time to let go of the need to control, of the burden of past regrets, of the expectation that we must always explain or defend ourselves. It is a time to recognize that silence is wisdom, not weakness, that not every argument is worth our breath, and that choosing peace over proving a point is a sign of strength. It is a time to understand that energy is precious, and we must be intentional about where we invest it. We must guard it, protect it, and spend it only on the things that truly nourish our souls. Most importantly, this is the season to accept that joy is an inside job, that no external success, approval, or relationship can create the fulfillment that must first come from within. And when we understand this, we stop waiting for happiness and start choosing it in our everyday moments. To fully embrace this season, we must also gracefully set boundaries, not as a means of shutting people out, but as a way of protecting our well-being. We must release the guilt that comes with putting ourselves first and stand firm in the knowledge that prioritizing our peace is not selfish, it is necessary. So as we move forward, let us do so with grace, with wisdom, and with a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. Let us focus on what truly matters, our inner peace, our happiness, and the simple joys that life offers us every single day. Because in the end, life is not about how much noise we make, how much we fix, or how much we do for others at the cost of ourselves. It is about how fully we live, how deeply we love, and how peacefully we rest in the knowledge that we have done enough. And we are enough.